Hello and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Unity, episode 45, where we're going to continue some pinball work. I'm your host, Maximilian Moreau, and with me is my tech, Philip Wilson.
Hello.
So,
I didn't have anything clever to say there.
It's okay, you said something. You could say nothing. You don't have to say
Cheese
something.
puffs!
Yeah. Alright, well, there's your random thing for the day. So, where we left off last time... We got a little shooter lane here for the plunger. We're currently using the button launch style plunger, so when we hit control right now, it just launches the ball.
Oh yeah, there were two because they were demonstrating.
Oh yeah, we had a demonstration of the one-way block that we did. So the ball cannot go back into the shooter section here. So let's what we're gonna do today is we're going to put some more elements in there. We're going to get some basics running. I think we're going to do probably. I want to do a spinner. I want to do. I think I should do the triangle bumpers today. And if we have time, let's do do drop targets. Yeah, drop targets. Drop targets will be fun. Actually, let's do drop targets first because that'll be more fun. It's a little bit more interaction, and they kind of have to interact with each other. So let's figure that out. And also, really easy art-wise for drop targets. So
yeah,
we can just do cubes, and it will look right. It'll be like the one time that cubes is appropriate. So I'm going to create a cube. We're going to call this. Just going to rename this to drop target. And what are these other cubes we've got here? I'm going to call this launcher lane. Actually, I called it plunger, didn't I? I'd like to keep it kind of
consistent.
Pretend that we have consistency.
No, consistency is very good. I will always vouch for consistency.
So, plunger lane. Alright, so now we don't have that confusing us. So let's get to our drop target. So we're going to make this a little bit thinner. So what does that look like? Just going to change the Z scale to... Actually, that looks pretty good.
0.33, that's good. I like that.
I like it too.
Looks good. Looks like a drop target.
Alright, so we've got a drop target. So the nice thing about drop targets is we can actually operate them the same way that they operate in a real pinball board by just dropping them into the board. And we don't even have to cut holes in the board because nothing actually collides with anything if we don't want it to.
Correct.
So we are going to change some... No, we need it to be a box collider because we want it to have the physics.
We have to have the ball bounce off of it. Yeah.
But for the most part, its position will be static. We're not going to have a rigid body on it. We're just going to have the collider, and that should be enough. So let's put this so this is actually on the board, 0.5. And let's create just a bank of these real quick. Let's just duplicate it and duplicate it again and duplicate it again. Do a 4 bank to start here. So,
you know what we should do so we can keep the ball in play for a little while?
What?
Make the flippers bigger right now.
Okay.
Just for right now.
Just for now?
Yeah, because the ball likes to go on either side that we don't.
I think we should put walls up, honestly.
That
and
works
just pretend that we're kind of working towards that
Okay.
pinball ideal. All right.
You can just put
yeah, let's just do that real
walls up
quick.
real
Let's just
quick.
create. Let's just create a cube, whatever.
Yeah, there are no tries in Unity.
Are no tries.
Yeah, there is only do's or do not do's. There are no tries.
No, there's lots of tries in Unity. I try
It's
things
true.
all the time.
That is true, actually.
All right, so we're just going to make this. We're not going to have an outlane at all.
I was trying for the Star Wars joke, but
I'm sorry. I should probably be trying to help you with the jokes rather than just shoot you down all the time.
No, you should be shooting me down. This is supposed to be more serious, and I always make things light.
No, it's not. This show serious? Are you kidding me?
What, me worry?
Yeah, exactly. What, Bill Murray?
Yeah, what, Bill Murray? What happened to the... Oh, it looks like that lane's gone from this angle. That's so weird.
It is weird, isn't it? Okay.
That's awesome.
See how that looks real quick.
Does it work with the flippy?
Ooh,
I only worry
call.
because of the colliding.
Yeah, because physics and all that jazz. You were right. It did not work perfectly, so...
Yeah, when you're using something like this, physics-wise, you gotta really watch out for it colliding with anything.
Alright, so let's just do that.
I'm not, of course,
saying
saying this to you. I'm just saying this out loud.
Make this 30 even, or... Wait, what?
What?
30.
Even.
That was strange. It decided to change whether it wanted to say negative or...
Yeah, that
it does
happen.
It sometimes.
You could scale it up a little bit.
Out more.
Whoa there. Whoa there. Alright.
Alright, so now...
Theoretically, the balls should be able to...
stay in play easier.
That's interesting.
Alright. Other than that, not having a top glass thing, we can fix that pretty easily. As a matter of fact, we could throw a top glass on there right now if we wanted to. I'm not going to do that just yet because we might do ramps and stuff later, and I don't want to have to adjust that. Actually, we might. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. So we got these drop targets. Those are awfully far away. But let's get these started here. So let's create a script for these things. So drop target.
Mono develop. Oh.
So drop targets, in case people don't know what a drop target is, because I just realized drop target.
Let's bring up an image. Yeah.
Well, this shows a lot of how they work. I guess drop target is a painfully technical phrase. Pinball. But yeah, we're looking at these sort of things. These little target things that come down, and basically when you hit them, they go into the ground, and they don't score after that, and then they come back up when you've collected all 5.
Yeah, when you've collected all 5, or sometimes...
Or however is 3, or...
When your turn ends, they come back up.
Yeah, sometimes
typically.
it's turn into...
sometimes
depends on the game. Depends on the game. But the main thing is when you hit them, they drop. And I've seen some... Most of them are just used on, like, most of them have a bumper behind them, like you see here. This is a little rubber bumper behind it here. But I have seen these used actually to guard entrances too, where you have to drop them first and then roll over them afterwards. So
pretty clever to use them like that.
Yeah. So so here we go. Let's look at our script. So let's see.
Oh, we're gonna need an amount to drop them, of course, like a drop distance.
Float drop distance. We're just going to assume the drop direction is going to be down, and I'm going to default this to -1.0f, because if it's a 1 unit thing, it should just go away. And since we kind of built our table with 1 unit in mind, that'll work out nicely in most cases. And actually, drop distance, I'm going to call it positive, so that's positive is down in this case, because we're talking about the distances dropping.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, drop distance. I'm also preemptively... Am I going to do this first? We'll figure that out later. So, drop distance, and that's all we're going to need for right now. Let's just start with that. So, let's see. So, void on collision enter. I'm going to create a private bool is dropped.
All right.
Equals false.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
If not is dropped. If not is dropped.
Now, the question is, do we want it to instantly pop or do we want it to transition?
Let's just do an instant pop first.
Okay.
So if not is dropped, transform dot position plus equals transform dot down. Okay, forward. No. Wait, what? Oh, vector 3 dot down. Is there a down? Yeah. All right. Plus equals vector 3 dot down times drop distance. So this is a unit vector that points in a downward direction in the y, and this is our drop distance. If you multiply the two together, it will move that amount. So this is a little bit of linear algebra. It's nice. Linear algebra is one of those things where it seems really complex the first few times you use it, and then after you get used to it, it's faster than any other system, just because it's just easy to work with for 3D when you're dealing with it.
Oh yeah, it's super easy.
So
to work with.
Yeah, just a little bit hard to understand at first. So this will move the position down. Oh yeah, and we want to set is dropped equals true. We may get fancy on this script here too in a second. Why did that look? Oh, it's the sizing thing. I was seeing the cube for the sizing, and I thought that it was turning into a cube somehow. I changed this to movement, so I don't feel that way. And let's just attach this to the drop targets. Actually, let's attach it. Yeah, let's just attach it to.
Attach it to. Well, do you want to make a?
I'll make a prefab after we
test
it on these.
So right now these are pretty dumb drop targets for the most part. They only drop. Yep. They don't come back up. There's no real logic other than if I'm hit.
Exactly. But we're just going to see how they work right now, just to see.
Sounds like a good plan. If we can
hit them. Yeah. Gotta find out how good I am at my own pinball game here. We're probably not even going to get enough force to hit them.
I think our flippers need more force.
Yeah. Alright, let's look at our flippers here.
And I mean, that's some of the tuning, as you were talking about last week.
Yep. Fly force offset. Let's try 500.
Sounds good to me.
Let's do the same over here, 500.
That feel a little bit more like?
We'll find out. These balls are too heavy, man. Who made the balls so heavy last time?
It's me.
Oh, okay.
Because pinball balls are supposed to be heavy, though.
This ball getting stuck here reminds me very much of Pinball Construction Set for the Commodore 64. That's pretty much what my balls always looked like in that program. Now let's move these down just slightly.
Yeah, it's just because there was always actually that game, wasn't there a EA Sega Genesis version of the game
there was
similar to that?
It was actually it was not called,
it's called Extreme Pinball.
Yeah, but it was actually made by Bill Budge.
Yeah, I mean it was,
and it was Pinball Construction Set, and it was awesome. It was actually a really great game.
It was awesome. I agree. I played the crap out of that game.
Alright. Well, that was weird.
That was a little weird, yeah.
Okay, I think it's twitching a little bit.
A little twitchy.
We'll figure that out later. Let's just make it.
Just put it up to 1,000.
Yeah, that's not 1,000. That's 1,000.
If all else fails,
use thousands.
Yeah. Does look more like has that authoritative force of a pinball flipper.
There we go. Oh, we're gonna find out if it actually worked finally. Yay! It dropped.
Did.
Let's see if it actually did drop. Yes, it did. It's in the ground.
Awesome.
Joy of joys. All right. So first part's done. So also we got some tweaking done on the pinball machine, so that's great. Let me save what we got here. And so now we want it to reset. So let's start with the bank reset, which is where if all four of them are dropped, they reset.
Okay.
And so I'm going to add a couple more variables. I'm going to do public float reset delay. I'm going to make this equal to 0.5f. This is just so that when it resets, it doesn't kick the ball into space or anything. Because when you hit the last one, you're going to be awfully close to it.
So what's neat about the glass, by the way, I was thinking about glass on this thing. You could easily just do a plane, flip it upside down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then you don't even have to do anything on that. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yep. It's probably the most useful feature of the plane is the fact that it is...
It's one-way collision.
It has a collision mesh that is one way. I pretty much hate every other aspect of that stupid plane, actually. The fact that it's 10 units, there's no reason for that. The fact that it is some ridiculous number of polygons when it should just be 2. There's a lot of things I don't like, but...
That is. Yeah.
So reset delay, and then, so we're going to need to have the objects know that they're part of a bank. So what I'm going to propose that we do is let's do this with a string that represents their bank. So we're going to call the, I'm going to call it bank name, and we're going to have a default name of drop target bank 1.
All right.
Listen, it's more complex than we have to do. Int bank ID equals 0.
Oh, okay.
So, so what we're gonna do is we're going to have a list of all of the ones in this bank. No, we don't need a list of... Okay, so all we do is... so if not dropped, you drop it. If... Okay, we're going to have a list. We're going to have some way of keeping track of what these things are. So we give them bank ID.
Well, I mean, we need like some kind of... We need some way to have them communicate with each other, right? Or something.
They don't need to necessarily communicate with each other, but they do need to know the rest of the ones within their bank ID. So what I'm gonna do is...
Well, I mean, would this be a good place to have a manager of these things, so to speak?
Well, they can. I like things that can self-manage to a certain extent. That's the reason I'm just going to use a bank idea for this. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to have a static variable here. Let's do a static. Let's get a using system.collections.generic so that we can use our lists, and we're going to do a static list of type. Game object, that'll be good enough. Stack list game object. Actually, let's make a list of drop targets. Drop target. We can do that. Equals new list drop target. And public static list. Oh. Doesn't like this.
Oh, it does not like that, does it?
Oh, it needs a name.
Drop targets?
Yeah, drop targets.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that'll be fine. And so in the start here for each of these, we're going to do drop targets.add game object. And we're not going to be ever removing these from the board, so I'm not going to handle that case, but if for whatever reason you were destroying these things, you will have to make sure that you remove them from the list as well. In our case, once all of the drop targets have been instantiated, that's all the ones we're going to have. So we just add those to the game object. We add the game object to that list, and now if not is dropped, we drop it down, we say it's dropped, and then we check to see, so for each drop target target in drop targets target dot if target dot if target dot bank ID equals bank ID. So this is one that we care about because it's in our same bank. If target dot I need to make this public now. If target dot is dropped, Alright, so we want this, so
if it's in the bank ID and if it's dropped.
So we're going to be going through all of these. And so basically, if any of them haven't been dropped, we don't want to reset. But if any of them have been, if all of them have been dropped, then we want to reset. So if not target is dropped, break. Can I actually just, no, I can't do return. So break will bring us.
Yeah, break should bring you out.
It brings you completely out of this thing. So else continue. So when we get finally here, so let's say we're on the last loop, we need to do something. Okay, let's not break and continue. Let's just do a little variable thing.
That works.
Let's create a variable. Bool reset bank equals true. Reset bank equals false. And then finally we do if reset bank for each, we go back through these again. Just going to copy and paste this again. Target to bank ID. We're just going to go target dot. Okay, get the transform here. Transform plus equals. It's going to look very similar to our this thing. Target.transform dot position plus equals vector 3 up times drop distance. So that will reset it. Then we also need to say is dropped equals false. Oh, whoops, target dot is dropped equals false. That should do it. So basically, running through what we've got here is on a collision, if it hasn't dropped, drop it, set is dropped to true. Then we create this temporary variable here. So this is drop target. Check to see if the rest of the bank has been dropped. Reset all drop targets in bank if the bank has been dropped.
All right.
And actually, we're going to change this one more thing, because I put this delay here, the reset delay. We didn't actually use it, so I'm going to do that real quick. We're going to create another little function here called void reset target. Actually, reset. Oh, let's see. Yeah, reset bank. All right. So reset bank, we do that. And the reason I'm doing that is so we can do invoke reset bank. Oops. Actually, I think we need to put this as one of these. And we use reset delay. So let's see if what we've got here actually works. Oh, we already have an error. Oh, game object. Drop targets.add. This will probably work. All right. So what I need to explain what that is. So I set the list here to drop target. Drop target is the actual script instance of the object rather than the game object itself, which is why I didn't like me just putting an object in there. This pointer represents the this script right here. It represents this object's script, actually just this script, just this class. And it should work in the case that we want here. So let's launch this thing and start shooting these things down. I should probably put them closer so that they're easier to knock down, or just set up a really trivial scenario. I'm going to play with it first, though, for a second. See what we get. There's one.
That ball is just wobbling like mad.
They're all wobbling just because the bounce values aren't perfect yet. No.
Ball of luck.
All right, let's just make this easy. We're going to just take this test ball here. Gonna duplicate it, duplicate it, duplicate it, and we're gonna hit play.
I'd say it's working.
Looks like it's working. Multi-ball. Didn't need that ball anyway. Screw that ball. Oh no!
Should stop these things from jiggling.
Yeah, don't tell me that right now.
But they jiggle.
Okay, well, let's look at what we can do for that. Let's, so first let's go back to our default material here. And let's try bounce combine back to just average.
And that's for the
That's for everything. That's for... We currently do not have any custom... so that already looks a little bit better with regards to the wiggling.
Yeah, I think that's...
But it's... I don't think it's... No, it's fixed.
Looks pretty good.
Just to be double safe, though, because we want it to be bouncy on as much stuff as we can get it bouncy on. But let's just to be safe, make a special material for the board. So I'm going to duplicate the main material. We're going to call this board. And we're going to get rid of all bounciness on the board. And so now, if we go into... So we don't have... Okay, so we have a mesh collider and they have the material here. So all we need to do is just put the board material in here. So now the board itself will be a little bit less bouncy. So hopefully these combine things, and actually I'm going to put one more thing on here. I'm going to set this to bounce combine to minimum. It's feeling kind of nice, actually.
Like pinball?
Yeah, a little bit like pinball.
Let him go. Now we notice.
I want to make them a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Is that all the balls? That's all the balls. 7.5.
I think that just knocked him out of the park.
Yeah, that was. We can fix that with the board though. That was just because it hit one of these and it was slightly up when it did it, and we apply the force as an explosion, so it's spherical. It's not like the force is guaranteed to be in this vector. As a matter of fact, we're very lucky that it generally doesn't bounce it out the moment those get hit, because they have to hit directly on that plane. Otherwise, they're going to have slightly up or lower or downward momentum. So we have a drop target bank. Actually, let's test to see if the multi-bank feature works. So we're going to... We should probably make a prefab of these real soon, but
yes.
I'm going to... Okay, let's do it now.
Probably a good idea.
So I'm going to create a drop target. Delete these. Now duplicate. Move. Duplicate, move. Move. And then let's grab all 4 of these, duplicate them again, move them, and I'm going to put them on a side thing. So I'm going to rotate. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted to do. Is there a way to rotate them as a group? No, there probably is, but
I can't say for sure.
There we go.
There you are.
Switch it to pivot mode.
Oh.
So if you switch it to pivot mode, evidently it will actually rotate as a group.
Interesting.
So, oops. But I can't use the... Alright, let's rotate, and can I hold shift? Is there anything I can hold to... Oh yeah, I probably have to hold it beforehand. Shift? Do you do something? No. Command, do you do something? There we go. That looks good. So if you hold command before you select them, or before you start rotating them, you can rotate them nicely.
Good deal.
We'll put these on the side, and then we're going to change their bank ID to 1. And I'm going to just make sure that these balls will actually still hit, because I reposition things stupidly for some reason. And I'm going to duplicate the ball one more time. We're just going to drop it on these. Alright, so hit play. They reset. They reset. There we go. Looks like they're working.
Yep, does.
2 individual banks. That's awesome. Alright, so drop targets are in the bag as far as I'm concerned. They don't do any scoring yet, but we'll do scoring probably next episode. So, because I want to do a scoreboard. I want to do a backboard real bad.
Nice.
So, so we got drop targets. Let's, do we have enough room for a triangle bumper? I don't even remember how those are set up, really. Alright, let's do a quick triangle bumper. So, triangle bumper is going to be similar to our bumper over here, except for it's only going to have collision on one side of it that bumps, and we're going to just project the force in one direction, as opposed to like these ones are omnidirectional, so the ball can come in from any angle and it will bump it appropriately. Mm-hmm. These ones are going to kind of kick the same no matter where you hit them. Which may not be 100% right for pinball. I should actually look into that, but we'll see how it feels first. Because I think that, if I'm not mistaken, the kickers on those things typically kick in the middle, and they bend a bit of rubber out when they do it.
Yeah.
And so that means that you'll get a direct kick when you're in the middle, but if you're on the sides, you'll get less of a kick and it'll be at an angle. So we may readjust things to match that later, but we're going to start with just a very basic force in a direction. So let's see, how are we going to make a triangle?
Well, you could do it by 3 cubes.
Yeah, I could do it by 3 cubes.
If you don't want to start going into a 3D program. I would do it with 3 cubes for the sake of convenience and ease. Right now, and you can just make it into a prefab. That'll solve the problem with one side that kicks where the rest don't. Because you could have a different material.
Because it solves that problem is the reason that I don't want to do it that way. Because I want to show people how to do it. Because they're almost certainly going to have an object that is their triangle kicker, right? Mm-hmm. And so they need to basically know how to set up the collision on that thing to work properly. And so all I was going to do is basically set it up and set up a sub-object that has the kicker plane. So I guess it doesn't matter. I guess, okay, we'll do that. So let's make a triangle.
Never thought that would be so hard.
Let's actually do 3 cylinders because it'll look a little bit better.
3 cylinders, huh?
Yeah, 3 cylinders. Oh, not cylinders. Sorry, capsules. Create capsule. 90 degrees. And let's just stretch this out a little bit. Let's do 2. And then we're going to duplicate it. I'm going to rotate this one. So what degrees are what are these at? 25 degrees, alright.
That one.
So we're going to rotate this in. It's probably not going to be 25 degrees because that's the... Let's try negative 25. No. 25. No. 180 plus 25. No.
205.
90 plus 25. There we go. So 115. There we go. This is going to be a little bit shorter on this side. I'll do 1.5 probably. We'll just get it to line up basically. That looks pretty good. Yep. And then we'll do one more. Actually, let's make this 1.5 as well. 1.5. And then we'll do one more that we rotate and just put into position however best we can.
However it fits.
Yep. Probably some math that can...
Well, there's definitely some math.
Yeah, there's always math. There's always math.
No probablys. There's definitely math that can help us in this situation.
Yes.
It's just a matter of doing the math.
Which we're not doing, so...
No, not right now.
Alright, so let's pretend that this is your really beautiful 3D model version of a bumper thing, kind of thing.
Of a triangle bumper?
Yeah, of a triangle bumper. And what are we doing with this? We're going to create an empty game object, which is not in there. Create empty. Game object is going to be called triangle bumper. We want it to be in a meaningful place, don't we? Where did I end up putting triangle bumper?
Is it in a meaningful place?
No.
That's unfortunate.
We're going to just eyeball it. That looks like a center to me.
Yeah. Close enough for government work.
And then we drop all of our cylinders, not our cylinders, our capsules into it. So there you go. And so let's move this into position somewhere. these. Make sure these are actually 25 and not. That was the wrong way, wasn't it? There we go. So just put it so that we have kind of a in-lane system. We don't really have an out-lane system yet, but this will give us kind of a look. We may have to stretch our board out a little bit, reorganize things, but that's always the case.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Let's get rid of some of these bumpers that are in the way. That's duplicate. And let's go ahead and flip this. And, let's make it work first, and then we'll get to flipping it. So
yeah,
we have the basic thing. It should have collision. Let's see if it does anything.
I was so close to hitting it.
There we go.
Boop, boop.
Sweet. It does something.
Yep.
So now we want it to actually have a bumper type thing. So we have this bumper script. I'm gonna. It's gonna look different enough that I'm not gonna duplicate that script. So let's create a script. C# script called triangle bumper. And so what we're going to just do is void on collision. All of a sudden, collision doesn't seem spelled right. Did I do that right? Oh, 2 L's, 1 S. Yeah, that's very wrong. Don't know where my brain was there.
Collision.
Collision. Collision.
Yeah, exactly.
So on collision inner, we are going to apply a force. So what would be the direction of the force? Let's just use the Z direction of the object. I'll show you how we can make that work. We're going to basically have a sub-object that's attached to this thing that handles the bumping.
Mm-hmm.
So on collision inner, collision call. If call. Okay, first let's actually look at what we did for bumper, because it's going to have some similarities. Okay, so this one doesn't use the. Okay, let's just do on collision inner.
All right.
But we will need the collision. Okay, so collision. No, collision. Call. No, sorry, on trigger inner. I'm changing it.
Changing it.
So this will be collider call. So call if call dot rigid body does not equal null, then we call dot rigid body dot apply add force factor 3 force. Let's do public float force. So the force will be added. We're just going to do the Z direction. So call dot transform dot forward times force.
Cool.
And that's that. So now we just need to actually put this into the right thing. So we're going to add a. I'm just going to create a cube.
Sounds like a good plan.
because a cube has a lot of the stuff that we already want in here. So this thing's at 281, which is equal to 280 in my book. So 280. Wait, what happened?
Wait, what?
That's weird. Oh, it's because of all the other stupid rotations that are in there.
Correct.
Why is this so bad?
I don't know.
So this should be 90, shouldn't it? That looks better. Negative 109. Alright, let's try a negative 109 here. Negative 109.
That's tilting it.
Oh, and let's put the 90 here. There.
There it is.
But it's not facing the direction we want. Alright. Let's redo this. We're just going to do it by hand. Actually, I want to redo that stuff that I did to the... Alright, were you counting the number of undos and redos there? So what we're going to do here is we're just going to free rotate it. Oops. We want it to just be in this thing. And we want to ensure... The main thing that we need to make sure of is when we go into this mode... We want the blue arrow pointing out, because that's transformed out forward, and that's where we're applying the force. So I'm going to make this a little bit wider. Stretch it out. And I'm going to rotate it some more again. We're going to remove the renderer on here, so get rid of the mesh filter and get rid of the mesh renderer. So now it's just a collision geometry type thing. And we want it to just poke out just a little bit.
Just a little bit?
We don't want it to poke out in places where we don't want it poking out. So that should work. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter, actually. So if it hits the corners, it's not going to bump, but if it hits in the sweet spot, it will.
Good deal.
That seems pretty well lined up. I'm just going to move it forward just a little bit. We want it just outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this as a trigger. And then apply. Okay, so this is going to be called the triangle bumper trigger. Throw this into the triangle bumper, and then we throw our triangle bumper script onto that. And so now, I'm just going to drop a test ball, because that's what we like to do.
Drop a
test ball here, and hit play. Oh, probably would help. I don't think we set a default value for the force. We didn't. What are we using for the bumper right now? We're using... Okay, there's explosion force. Alright. So now we actually have to make sure that there's something set on here, because just changing it there is not going to change it here. So let's do 100, and let's hit play. Didn't look like that worked so good.
Just set it up to 1,000. Just try to...
We're doing 10,000.
Okay, 10,000 it is. Yeah, just... Alright, I'd say it worked.
It did something.
I would say 10,000 worked.
Yep, I would say 10,000 worked pretty good. Let's try 1,000.
That's what you were talking about with the shooting the ball off the table. The explosion force, right?
In this case, it should be applying the force in this direction, and it shouldn't be applying it in any other direction. So, not quite sure. Oh, hold on, transform.forward. This is not what we want. We just want transform.forward. we want call to transform that forward is the ball's orientation. So the ball could be in a lot of different orientations depending on things. There we go. Yeah, that is a thing of beauty.
That is more of what we were looking for.
All right. Let's get some more. Yeah. It's actually almost right. Let's try 500 on the force.
500 might be a little bit better so it doesn't fling it. There you are.
That actually feels pretty much like a triangle bumper right there. So let's try and get a little fling going on. I need to get these flippers more tuned in.
They still feel a little flappy.
I still feel a little flappy.
I mean, flappy in the way that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, all the flippers are technically flappy for pinball.
It even doesn't kick sometimes, just like a real pinball machine. Gonna move this out just a little bit because it seemed like there were a couple times when it was tapping that it should have worked. So we have our. Yeah, I like that. All right. So let's duplicate this, put it on the other side, and let's call that a night for tonight.
Okie dokie.
So I'm going to actually prefab this. We're going to duplicate it, and we're going to rotate it on some axis that'll work, maybe.
You'd want to flip it along the
Z axis.
Yeah, the Z.
Yeah, so 180.
Yeah.
Yep. Getting all fancy. You even know which way to flip things now.
Oh, yeah.
Getting fancy on me, man. You're going to know more than I do soon.
I doubt that.
I know. No, it's true. It will. Happens. Remember me, though. Alright, let's just make this the same position here, so...
Well, it's not going to be...
Negative
Is it?
9. 2.5.
No.
So I just want this to be negative 9 at least. So this is at least vertically aligned.
Alright. Well, you might as well just do negative 3.5 because look at that.
That looked like a real pinball machine there, the kicker to kicker thing.
Wow.
We got too many balls in here.
It's never something I want to hear in a pinball game.
No, it's something you want too many balls in a pinball game.
I know. It's never a complaint when I have like a massive multi-ball going on in a pinball machine.
All right, cool. We got drop targets and some triangle bumpers.
And the ball flew out of the...
And we
You know
tweaked
what you
our
could do real
settings a little
quick?
bit. Sure. What do you want me to do real quick?
Top glass.
All right, you want to do
Just
top glass? Okay,
do
let's do a top glass.
real
All right.
fast.
Create plane. Okay, actually, what is this plane? Okay,
That's
this
the
is
small one.
This is, what do we call it? Plunger. One way.
Yeah, it's a stop flap.
Is that what it's called? Stop
I
flap?
don't know. That sounds right though, doesn't it?
It does sound right. That's why I asked. We're gonna have to have James in here so he can be like, oh no, you called all these things wrong.
No, probably.
Yeah. So James has serious pinball. Yeah.
So what you could do is just flip the bottom plane for the most part. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right. Duplicate. Move it up to 1. Flip it around. The Z, we'll just do that one. Doesn't really matter.
Now let's see.
And now we have just this brutal top glass that we will not be able to bounce out of. To be
Quite impossible.
a little bit safer, I'm actually going to move it slightly up.
I was just going
to
say that.
Because, yeah. So I want to call this the board. We're going to call this the top glass. Glass, not class.
It's the highbrow pinball.
And we're going to just put this give it a little bit of space to bounce.
That means that there'll at least be a little bit of bounce on these balls.
And technically we don't need, we actually technically don't need it on our one way either. We can turn off the renderers on these.
Yeah.
Remove component.
It just needs the mesh.
And then, yeah.
Same with the glass.
With the top glass. That way if we change our angles, like if you have like a ball camera or something later, it will not screw that up.
Just the render, right?
Yeah. Whoops.
That's not
Well,
what I
that's
expected.
useful. I need to know that exists there. Whoops, that's the one we want. Remove component, remove component. Gonna hit save.
And now you can try it.
We're gonna try it out again. Yep, always test. Don't just save and then check in. That's the path to the dark side.
Yeah, you never want to just not test your stuff. Always test your stuff.
It's starting to look like a pinball game. You know,
is.
it's actually starting to look like a pinball game. I wasn't sure if it was going to. Next time, we might do a little bit of artwork on the next time, but I definitely want to do scoring work. Get some. We'll probably do another target type, probably a spinner target, just because that'll be pretty easy. And then let's get some basic scoring and stuff, and then maybe do a little bit of an art pass next episode. So, thank you for joining us. Email me at pushypixels@pushypixels.com or tweet me at Drakfire.
You can email me if you want to. You could send me nice notes or mean notes or any text. I mean, you could send me pictures too if you really want to. But you can do that at philip@protosoftworks.com. And you could also follow me on Twitter at magmalemur. And I like followers on Twitter. And you can tweet at me and everything.
And you should buy Phil's Game Automation.
And you should buy Proton Pulse. You can actually download it for free too.
Yes.
Just get Proton Pulse.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Give it more than a shot.
Yeah, play it the rest of your life and look at all the ads, or buy the game and play it as much as you want.
Yeah, that works.
So
you can get it for PC, Mac, iOS.
Yeah, and I'm working on my website. That's going to be updated soon, and so it'll be a little bit easier to find all these things. So, anyway, thank you for joining us, and you guys have a great week.
Yep, have a fantastic week.